In the year 60 CE, Roman officials arrived to collect a debt. They came with ledgers, soldiers, and legal authority. By the end of the day, a queen had been flogged, her daughters violated, and an alliance that had kept Eastern Britain quiet for nearly 2 decades was destroyed. The Roman historian Tacitus recorded the incident in the Annals.
Kingdom and household alike were plundered, as if the entire country had been bequeathed to them. As a beginning, his widow Boudica was flogged, and their daughters raped. The Icenian gentry were despoiled of their hereditary estates.
What followed was not a riot, nor protest. It was one of the largest uprisings Rome would ever face in the provinces, and it came within a single battle of erasing Roman rule in Britain altogether. Boudica was the queen of the Iceni, a Celtic tribe occupying what is now eastern England. Her husband, Suetonius, had ruled as a client king under Rome, allowed to govern locally so long as taxes were paid and loyalty maintained. When Suetonius died around 60 CE, he left his kingdom jointly to his daughters and the Roman Emperor Nero, a legal attempt to preserve Iceni autonomy. Rome ignored the will. Roman administrators annexed Iceni lands outright. Nobles were dispossessed. Property was seized. The message was deliberate. The Iceni were no longer allies. They were subjects. Resistance spread quickly. Neighboring tribes, the Trinovantes and others, joined the uprising. Roman veterans settled at Camulodunum, modern Colchester, became the first target. Camulodunum had been built as a symbol of Roman permanence. It housed a temple to the deified Emperor Claudius, funded by local taxes and deeply resented. When Boudica's forces arrived, the city was unfortified. The settlement was destroyed. Later, the historian Cassius Dio described the scale of destruction in Roman history.
2 cities were sacked, 80,000 of the Romans and of their allies perished, and the island was lost to Rome. Moreover, all this ruin was brought upon the Romans by a woman, a fact which in itself caused them the greatest shame.
The revolt was not selective. Suetonius regrouped his forces, gathering roughly 10,000 legionaries and auxiliaries. He chose his ground carefully, likely along Watling Street, a narrow defile with woods to the rear, limiting the advantage of numbers. Boudica's army was far larger. Ancient sources suggest well over 100,000, though exact figures are uncertain. They advanced with families and wagons following behind, expecting victory. Before the final battle, Tacitus records a speech attributed to Boudica.
I am not fighting for my kingdom and wealth now. I am fighting
as an ordinary
person
for my lost liberty, my bruised body, and my outraged daughters. This is a woman's resolve. As for men, they may live and be slaves. The battle was brief. Roman discipline, heavy infantry formations, and controlled use of javelins shattered the Britannic charge. Once broken, the terrain prevented retreat. The wagons became traps. The revolt ended in a single afternoon. Boudica did not survive the aftermath. Accounts differ. Some say she took poison. Others suggest illness. Rome did not record her fate in detail. What Rome did record was her appearance. Cassius Dio described her decades later.
She was very tall, in appearance most terrifying, in the glance of her eye most fierce, and her voice was harsh. A great mass of the brightest blonde hair fell to her hips. Around her neck was a large golden necklace. This was her invariable attire.
Reprisals followed. Lands were confiscated. Military garrisons expanded. Yet Rome also adjusted its governance, recognizing that excessive brutality had nearly lost the province. In modern scholarship, Boudica's image continues to evolve. Historian Alice Roberts writes in The Celts,
Boudica has become a blank slate onto which each generation projects its own concerns. But at its heart, it remains a story of a woman who was pushed too far, and who, in her vengeance, shook the foundations of the greatest empire the world had ever known.
Boudica left no writings. Her words survive only through Roman authors, Tacitus and Cassius Dio, who recorded her speeches as literary constructions, not transcripts. Yet the facts remain. A client kingdom was dissolved. A queen was humiliated to enforce compliance. And Rome nearly paid for that decision with the loss of Britain. Boudica did not defeat the empire. She showed, briefly and unmistakably, that it could bleed.